Hello, it is I, Rhea. Wherever you are, and whatever time it is, I hope you are faring well. We are here today to conjure, to create, to cast a really important spell of summoning a well-needed, a well-deserved form of content in the darkest depths of the night. I need to be serious in doing this. In the darkest depths of the night, when the wind is howling louder than the rain itself, and even the brightest lights begin to dim and flicker until they fade out. That is when we gather during this time to talk about something very important. Sorry, it's just so terrifyingly powerful that I have to brace myself. So, hot witch boys, yes. No, but seriously, like, whenever I was writing down video ideas, that was one of the ones that just kind of, like, randomly possessed me and screamed out from the void, and I was like, you know, you might be onto something there. Because, I don't know, I mean, like, I haven't really drawn a ton of guys lately, and gender isn't really something that I always think about whenever I'm drawing a character. I kind of just like let it take me wherever. But whenever I draw witches, I also like have a pretty easy tendency to draw girls as witches because, I mean, like, duh, that's hot and majestic and beautiful. But hot witch boys in your area, would you not be interested? You know, I mean, like, you can be concerned a little bit, but I would still be somewhat interested. Like, as long as we're chill, you know? Maybe I would like to befriend one, and we can just kind of, like, vibe, hang out at the local Denny's parking lot at 2 a.m. I don't know, but, like, as soon as I thought of it, I was like, oh, this is just too genius. This is just too iconic. As if it's never been done before or anything. But that's not the point. Well, basically with last video, it was going very chaotically, and I mean, while Halloween fan service of my OCs is fun and great for me, I didn't quite execute it the way I would have liked to, so this gave me a time to sort of redeem myself. It's not like I'm trying to meet anyone's standards but my own, but that in itself is quite a challenge for me. So yeah, I was really excited to put together this sketch spread. So first things first, yes, as you can see, I'm drawing on my iPad today. Also means that the setup is weird because I still am trying to figure out how to film because I don't want it to be inconvenient for you guys, but I also don't want it to be inconvenient for me because normally whenever I film stuff traditionally, it's like the camera's flipped upside down and it's not really in my way. But whenever I film on my iPad, it's like right next to me, and sometimes I have to put my my left hand arm through the tripod legs, and it's just like a whole thing, and it's a little bit more awkward and there's more in my way, but I want to make sure that you guys can like see what's on the screen and if it's like close enough for you all and stuff. It's honestly very likely that I'm just overthinking all of this and I should just go with what makes me comfortable, but I just want to make sure that it's legible, you know, can you like view things comfortably? Sorry that I do tend to have the habit of not really zooming in on the iPad. I feel like a lot of people get like all up in there and I don't really do that unless I'm doing like really specific details or like an actual illustration, but for sketching I don't really find that as necessary. I kind of like being able to see the overall picture because it helps me figure out the composition. Another thing that I'd like to talk about before I get into my witch boys, the content, if you can't tell, is slightly sped up. Just a little bit, so like normally, let's say if this were in 100% just regular, like real time, it's actually 175%. And keep in mind that if I want something to be really quick, it's gonna be at least 1,000. But this is like, I feel like this is still to where it feels like I'm doing it somewhat in real time. But it's not as like slow, because I say this all the time, I feel like I draw slow, and in general the filming process is usually around, like, I want to say I filmed this in 1 day. So it was probably about like 2 to 3 hours. But yeah, just because it's a sketch spread and I'm just kind of like playing around but still trying to figure out what I can add or what I can take away. So yeah, hopefully this is a digestible, chill speed for you guys. And I do cut it into snippets as well because I, once again, didn't want this video to be turbo long. So I think half an hour should be a pretty good way to sum this up. But yeah, that being said, even though I filmed like a good chunk of it, I actually didn't film the beginning part because I'll probably explain this later, but this week I've been kind of on the grind to make sure that I get 2 videos filmed instead of 1 because I want to bring back my consistency of posting weekly if possible, but at the same time, next week I will not be able to film likely, so at least not art content. So I was like, let me get this over with now and see if I can get 2 posts for the rest of this month. And that being said, I had to work under really intense time restrictions because, I mean, I still have like a day job and stuff, so I had to film as soon as I got home, and I had to figure out some other things for the upcoming exciting news. And yeah, so I was really like hustling in the middle of this process. I feel like I have the tendency to always bite off more than I can chew. I feel like I always want to do more than what I actually can do. And this is one of the very few times that I was actually able to pull it off, it seems. But by doing that, like I'm able to achieve doing that by cutting corners. And one of those corners was me just doing a general sketch before actually filming. Because anyone who films like their art content or something of the sort, you know that like there's a completely different vibe from whenever you're filming and drawing and whenever you're just drawing. So to cut sort of like the awkwardness and, you know, all these little like small faults that kind of appear more whenever I turn the camera on, I was like, let me just sketch out just general poses and stuff like that, and we can go in on the details of these characters whenever I get the camera rolling. So yeah, I started out with like this light purple color to create like a general base for these characters and where they'll be at, and then at the beginning of the video itself, you see me kind of like play with some of the layers. So I sketched each of these characters on their own layer and then kind of like arranged them to a composition that I felt like would fit, and it's not like it's anything perfect. I was kind of just trying to like fit them there. And after I have them all on their own separate layer, I grouped that layer and then duplicated it. So I just always like having backups. I'm one of those people that like I have multiple different layers for no reason other than the fact that I'm a weenie and I like working in a non-destructive environment because I just like a safety net, you know? And one of the benefits of working with the layers grouped instead of like merged as a group is that I can select each individual character's like rough sketch and then change the opacity of it or erase where I see fit. Whereas if they were all merged, that would be a lot harder because now the layer is flat, and some parts I would probably go to erase one thing and then I'd be erasing everything there because it's all merged together. If that makes sense. Hopefully it did, but nevertheless, yeah, that was pretty much how I started it out. And then I just, using my beloved dry fountain ink from jingsketch brush. If you guys saw the other video that I did, just kind of like doodling on the iPad, I like fell in love with that brush, and I think using it for this video, I once again am just really appreciating it. So yeah, but getting into the actual witch boys that I am drawing, so while I knew that I wanted that to be the theme, I wasn't really sure where to go from there because like at the beginning of the video, I think I like briefly went over like these jotted down notes, which probably look like chicken scratch because my handwriting is not the best. I'm not gonna lie to y'all on that. But yeah, I just kind of like wrote down general ideas, and that's kind of how a lot of my like thought processes whenever it comes to like concepts or things like that. I just like sometimes I just go off the top of my head. If I have more time, then I would like to sort of expand on it. And but once again, we're on a time limit here because I wanted to get this video out. So I was like, okay, it really helps me to have a theme. So that's why the notes at the beginning, I believe, just kind of like talk about different kinds of witches. And so that's kind of what helped me come up with these characters. So the very first one that I started to draw was a fire witch, kind of, yeah, like a fire themed witch. And I mean, I love a fire element, so I simply had to. And I figured like I don't end up like actually coloring these. I kind of just do like a very like two-toned, I guess, if you could really, I'd say more monotone, but I mean, it's just purple and black throughout this entire spread. So, nothing is really like colored. But that being said, I still wanted to kind of have fun with it and think a little bit of like what the characters like physical traits would be and stuff like that and what fits them the most, or even like their pose or something. So I figured the Fire Witch would be a little bit more like brash, kind of like cocky, arrogant, sassy. I love fire element characters because they're just so fun, and I'm a Leo, so I feel like that kind of makes sense. And the witch that I have just finished up, he is kind of based off of like astronomy or maybe astrology. I'm saying that I know the difference between the two, but I'm just like based off the aesthetic. I was wondering if he's like the kind of person that would be able to like tell your fortune, because I'm pretty sure that's why I came up with like the mirror, because I was thinking of doing like a fortune, like a crystal ball, but then I was like, oh, I think a mirror would be cool. Like it looks like and when you look into it, it would look like a reflection of like in the water or something. But like that's the issue with this, is the fact that I love the idea of concepts and coming up with things, but whenever I have such a short period of time to do so, like in this case, it's kind of heartbreaking because there's just so much that I want to dive into. But yeah, he was fun to draw, and I thought like a hood would go well for him. And I ended up doing his hair kind of textured, like twists, I think, and I had a really lazy method of doing that once again because um, I knew that I had to draw quick and that I was not gonna have the time or like the hand strength to sit there and like draw each individual curl, and I didn't really want to use any brushes or things like that for it. So yeah, the method I did was pretty much just to create like a cylinder-esque shape with still some kind of form to it, and then just kind of like create these little spirals. But yeah, I always think twists or like lock styles look so cute on guys. But yeah, and then for this witch that I'm currently drawing right now, I kind of, one of the phrases that I wrote down was like a blood witch, or like a witch that deals with like souls or things like that. So I'm guessing he would fit that. I don't know, he looks very like dramatic. I do like a hand over the eye type of pose, or like the hand on the face. I tried to come up with like some kind of pose for each of them in a way, because like it's like I get more and more bored of my characters to just like stand there whenever I draw them. So and the crazy thing is both for this sketch spread and the previous one before that, and also the one that I did earlier this month on the iPad, like I'm not really using references for them, and like it's both like a blessing and a curse, because I do think it's good to use references for sure. Like it just kind of helps streamline your poses a lot more. Like if you want something to look proper, then it usually is pretty good to use a reference. But at the same time, I like to make sure that I can survive without a reference if need be, and every now and then it's good to like test where I'm at on terms of like drawing certain things. like anatomy and poses. So yeah, I feel like there's definitely moments where I fall short, like drawing this guy's arm angled like that. Joints, I think I said it before, joints are like where my brain kind of gets a little overwhelmed because it's just so interesting how the human body can like form itself, and things don't always follow what you would logically think they follow. So yeah, but that being said, I am quite amazed that I didn't really use a reference for any of this. I kind of just jumped in because I knew I didn't have the time to sit and like look at a reference, try to copy it, make sure that it looks like proper. I just kind of dived in and had fun with it, and the hardest part though is to still come up with a pose that is interesting, because without a reference I'm limited to my own visual library in my head, and sometimes that can be a bit repetitive if I'm trying to stay in my comfort zone. But I think I like went in and out of my comfort zone throughout this, so yeah. Also, yes, if you're wondering, I am giving him a nipple piercing. I'm shameless, I'm so sorry. But I feel like that's the content. That's what we need. You know, it's like they're like witch boys. I feel like you need something exotic. You need something to like cast people off guard. I think having them be a little eccentric is fun, and whether if that's in their character or their like design, it's such a fun realm to play with. So yeah, what a fun time. I mean, I did say that I wanted to like work on adding more accessories, and that does count as one. But yeah, it's one of the ones that I tend to forget about. There's all kinds of piercings out there, so gotta make sure you utilize them all, I guess. But no, I kind of like how he came out, honestly. It's kind of hard to come up with like elaborate designs on the spot because it's like naturally it's what I want because I enjoy character like outfits and things like that a lot, but it's hard to like come up with things and make it cohesive and also just make it make sense in general. Like I'm definitely just adding stuff out here for the aesthetic of it because that's just where I was at. But I think that's okay too. It's good to just have fun sometimes. So yeah, and then this next witch that I will draw is like I wrote down like a botanical witch, and I was like that's so cute because like so far it felt like most of like the fire witch is like this kind of hard-headed sassy character, right? Or I'm assuming he would be. And then the astronomy slash astrology, I still am not sure which one I would want to go with, but I feel like he'd be a little bit quirky, kind of a little bit interesting, odd, mysterious, I don't know. And then the blood witch kind of has like this solemn silent vibe going on, I don't know, but I think just having like a cute boy witch that's just like, I don't know, interested in collecting like plants or even like rocks or like berries and just the different things, life, like a biology witch. I don't know, I thought that'd be like super cute. So I drew him and gave him a little tiny hat because I knew someone was gonna have the cute tiny witch hat, and so I just figured it had to be him. And yeah, I gave him little elf ears, and he just has a really like cutesy demeanor to him, and I feel like that's something that I will never be able to escape. The thing about whenever I draw guys or whatever is that I feel like the features that I like on male characters aren't really what you would associate with male. I mean, honestly, that's not something that bothers me at all. I don't even think it's that serious, but I just find it fun to like give them majestic hair and like pretty eyes. Actually, guys tend to have really beautiful eyelashes in real life anyways, like even more so than women, and I'm not sure like what the secret is. If you guys would like to share what goes on, please let me know. But yeah, no, I just like I really like the pretty boy feature. I like all different kinds of character tropes, but pretty boy is definitely one of them. If you know a lot of my OCs, like a lot of my guy OCs, you'll kind of catch on and be like, yeah, definitely makes sense for her. But it's just fun. I don't know. Like just being like well groomed and like you just look majestic, like that's everything. And so yeah, so he's holding his little potted plant, I guess. That I just kind of started drawing, honestly. I was like, I don't know, what is this gonna be, like a tree? Is it gonna be like a bonsai? I don't even know. I'm just drawing. And so I just added some little like random flowers or something, and like yeah, there's like leaves around his cape thing, tunic. I don't know, honestly. It kind of gives me like Link from Zelda energy, but I've never played Zelda or anything like that, so I don't know. But it was a fun time nevertheless. Um, yeah, I figured like maybe like some, I don't know, it just gives me forest vibes, you know? So like like a cloak and kind of like a type of like skirt kilt thing going on. I was like, I was just feeling it. I just like a lot of the times whenever I draw on a whim like this, it literally is just whatever comes to me in that moment, and I'm like, yeah, sure, let's try this, let's try that. And I think it's really fun because I mean, worst case scenario, if I want to develop a character more, I can just sort of play with the sketches that I've started out with. But yes, aside from my cute witch boy, the last one that I draw is kind of like this mysterious, odd, eerie energy in this witch. He is, I think, what was it? I wrote down Dream Witch, and I was like, oh, that would be interesting. Like a witch that can like, whose power is like based off of dreams and stuff like that. I wanted to eventually like draw one of the witches like holding a book, but I never ended up doing that because I was like, oh, it's gonna take too long. It's hard to figure out, so never mind. I'm sure I could have drawn it without a reference, but I just shied away from it because I, once again, wanted to like draw this quickly without too much worrying over stuff. So he's just making a little like shh symbol with a finger over his lips. But yeah, I felt like it was kind of fun to come up with him because I wanted to give him like those dark circles underneath his eyes and pretty eyelashes, kind of like makeup. Yeah, once again, I really just kind of draw whatever I find to be like appropriate for the character. It really is not ever anything that I have tied down by the concepts of gender because I don't know, I just find it like fun to come up with things and see where it takes me. But yeah, his outfit becomes kind of interesting at the end. I like how I do his hood or cape. It's like he's wearing like a hood gown thing, but then he also has like his witch hat on that's kind of long and stuff like that. It gives me Undertaker vibes from Black Butler, and I love the Undertaker a lot, so that kind of makes sense. Oh my gosh, actually, I have been wanting to talk about anime so much, but I've been holding back. Actually, I was just thinking about it because I've been doing a lot of like OC drawings or just like original content, and I do generally love fan art and I want to get back to doing it more consistently. I'm just shy. But I have been drawing it like away from like out of the public eye, if that makes sense. I have like a throwaway kind of sketchbook that used to be like an old work notebook, so I just kind of use that for sketches that I don't really plan on showing anywhere, and a lot of it ends up being fan art because it's like that's something that I really enjoy, but I'm always like kind of self-conscious about because it's like you want the characters that you like to look cool, right? So the struggles that you have to go through to get there is just sometimes too greater of a hassle for me to admit to and just accept sometimes. But that being said, I do really hope to get to drawing more fan art because I've just been like constantly, I mean like constantly involved in some kind of like franchise or content. I recently got really addicted to link click. If you guys have seen my Instagram stories, I've just been going through it. Like nobody told me. Oh, there's just so many emotions, and I have 3 episodes left to watch of this 2nd season, and I just feel like everything's gonna be so chaotic and it's just gonna be everything. So I look forward to that. Anyway, I've been wanting to do like a video where I just kind of like do a bunch of fan art from like what I've been watching lately and stuff, but alas, hopefully I can do that soon, maybe like sometime in November, but we'll see, because yeah, I have been doing a lot of OC content, which I've really enjoyed, but I like doing a mix of everything, if you guys can't tell. She loves to do it all, and for what reason, I don't know. It's kind of just built into my personality, unfortunately. But yeah, overall on this sketch spread, I feel like I'm kind of shocked that I was able to like draw all of this in such a short amount of time, because as I've said, like I tend to draw pretty slow or I feel like I draw slow, I don't know. And so but I mean, I knew that I was on a time crunch, and so I was literally like, I got home and like got situated, and I like queued up a whole bunch of songs, and I was like, look, I'm just gonna draw, and we're just gonna figure out how it goes on like along the way. So yeah, and considering that, it actually turned out like I genuinely really liked the spread, so it's saying a lot for me to say that. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm pretty bad at like complimenting myself or admitting that I like something that I've made, so I feel like this isn't so bad, you know, like it's pretty enjoyable, and I enjoyed the process as well. I love how this looks whenever I start to add the purple. There's just so many things that I could have played with. I wasn't sure if I wanted to shade in black or purple. I'm using a different brush to do this part, by the way, but yeah, no, I felt like it was such a fun thing to do, and as you guys know, purple is my favorite color. So just the purple and black has been a theme throughout this entire month, apparently, with my videos. So yeah, I think it's a really cool combination, and it fits the Halloween aesthetic. So I guess my next question is like, should I go back to this? Like, should I revisit this, like color it or anything like that, like properly? Like, should it go anywhere else? Because I have a huge habit of like adopting characters that I draw on a whim and then turning them into OCs. And I actually have another conceptual based art project that has been almost finished, almost, but not quite, and things just keep getting delayed, but hopefully I can show that to you guys in a video as well. It's a long awaited one. Whenever it drops, you guys are gonna be like, is the timing really proper for this? Like, does this make sense? But it's fine, okay? I put a lot of work into it, kind of, sort of, but it's a fun time. It'll be fun. But yeah, and as for other upcoming videos, I don't know, I kind of have to revisit it. I mean, I do know some, like some are pretty obvious. One of them is my sketchbook, because like I said, my plan is to definitely finish it before the end of the year. It's been a long time coming. So that should for sure be finished, because I've made preparations for it. I just need to film the rest for video content. So yeah, and then there's some other things, a lot of exciting things hopefully on their way, but yeah, by the time this video is out, hopefully I will be going on quite an adventure in which I should return safely to post about more in detail, and that is all I will say about that. Anyway, in the meantime, I wish you guys a nice rest of the month of October. I don't know if you guys did any challenges, but I hope they went well. Did you like complete all your days if you did an art prompt, or did you complete all of what you wanted to do? Because I mean, I didn't even remotely get to do what I thought I would, and I didn't even really do an art challenge, so... But I did try to make it fun video-wise, and I feel like in turn I had fun as well with like all the themes, all of it being like themed around like Halloween, spooky aesthetic. It's actually kind of funny because the way that I was raised, my parents, well, especially my mom's very like Christian and was really not a fan of any of that kind of stuff. Like, we would do Halloween, but she was very adamant about how it was done. And even I'm not like a huge like gore, scary haunted house type of person. I just like the idea of like the color palettes, like the fall weather, and I think I talked about it in another one of my videos earlier this month, but I just like the overall energy. It just feels a lot more imaginative and creative, and growing up, it was one of the most fun holidays ever, really, if you consider it a holiday. Like, just going out to trick-or-treat and dress up, like those things are just unmatchable to me out of all the holidays personally. But Yeah, it was just a fun time, and I love the fact that art has been also incorporated into that. So I definitely want to revisit traditional mediums like ink and watercolor like outside of October, or even like using traditional brushes in like a digital way, like how I do in this video, because I also downloaded the Max pack. He has like traditional art brushes and they're really well known, so I'll probably link those in the description. But I think one of them is what I use to do this background, and then what I do is just I erase it using the same brush. Yeah, it just has like this nice textured look to it. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, this year has been kind of exhausting and dull for me, but October has been kind of uplifting, so I'm glad that energy picked me up, and I hope that I can offer you some of that same positive energy going forward. We are almost towards the holidays and towards the end of the year, so I hope the rest of it continues to go well for you guys, or if it hasn't been, I hope it starts to somewhat cheer up for you. And yeah, we will all continue on making it day by day. Woohoo! Thank you guys for being here and watching this video and just kind of hanging out with me as I draw these hot witch boys. This is how they all turned out, and I will show the time lapse in a little bit, but yeah, I genuinely had fun with the spread. Let me know if you guys have a favorite witch, or if you guys would like to see me sort of revisit these characters and maybe flesh them out a little bit more. I feel like they're kind of precious to me in a way, but even if we keep going, they will forever be in my heart. Well, as that is all, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed your time here today, please feel free to leave a like. If you're interested to see more of my content, you can check out my other videos and subscribe. For reference, if you are new, hello, my name is Rhea, or Etheria, and I like making art and art-related content on my channel. I do try to post weekly videos, but if you would like more timely updates, you can always check out my other social media linked in the description and also at the end of the video. Till next time. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I wish you a nice rest of your day and week, and happy Halloween! Take care!